that the case. Maybe there's other organizations that maybe have greater scrutiny. Maybe they're not so well known. You know, whatever the particulars are, and those will be what will be aired out.
Right now, that's the
Can't speak for that whole process because we're not the final arbitrators of that anyway. So that's we're going right to where it gets done.
Well, historically, I don't know what they did after I left. Usually, historically, when they apply the first time, they come in front of the board and they explain their organization, and then if they apply the next year, they don't have to come before. That's historically what we used to do. It was the initial thing like, why does John, the organization wants this, so you have to state your case. That's what we used to do. We didn't make them come back every year.
And I think what
the first 2 years, I had to do the first 2 years. Petition warrant articles with 25 registered voters from your town.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And as a petitioned warrant article, I didn't have to speak to the selectmen or the budget people. I just had to speak at town meeting.
Right.
And the people in the town got it. They all understood. Because everybody knows somebody who's been.
And that, and to John's point, I think, you know, there may have been a point in time where it just went from that to having them be understood of who's doing what. And I think now maybe there's more players coming to the table, and I think that complicates things because there's only so much money to go around.
That's right.
It's the sentiment, I'm sure. So this was your practice run.
This is my practice run. And I don't do well speaking in front of the group, and I don't like cameras. So this should be fun.
Well, again, you don't really need to be here tonight. And I'm not sure that the budget committees have been recorded. For the most, they have.
And when you speak, I will be holding up 3 cards, 1 of 3, to score you. So.
So the higher number is better, or
yes,
the higher number,
the
lower
better.
number?
Oh, I didn't think we were giving that information out.
That's true. That is true.
Maybe you try harder if you don't know it.
Well, it's a dry run, so it's okay. It's good.
And it just works right in.
Yeah, but pumpkin looks like
Mike, did you get that personnel thing?
Got Brandy's color.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
He doesn't have Brandy's ears, and he doesn't.
He doesn't have that wide, broad face.
Yeah, he doesn't have all tip. But look at those older numbers. But they don't say how big he is, where he came from. They just say he's got a lot of energy.
There's this thing on YouTube it's called Mink Man, and he trains minks and a dog to catch rodents.
I could guess who this came from.
That's why he chose them, but he brings them into like city dwellings where they rat infest and stuff. And the mink and the dog go in there and just clean out.
It's funny because that was suggested to me is to do the opposite of this. If this happened, they all go into the land, or just we become actually put it, and they all each article becomes an ordinance.
Because it has to get along with the mink for a team. Yeah, I love it. Sometimes it goes like 50 minutes, sometimes it's like an hour.
Like I said, I like the expression "stir the turds." This is what this is about.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a mission or something. But they show them going out to the farms and the things just clean out the farms. You know, they work with each other. Most of them are one after the other.
You got it done.
Make a quilt. It's a good show. You should do it.
If you could, you could grab them. There's an article in here about angels and elves.
Yeah.
They're looking for rapids.
No, thank you.
I saw that.
No. I had to wrap 2 pillows, and let me tell you, I threw out more paper than I used on the pillow.
The best
I thought he meant singers. I thought Christmas was going rap. That's what.
Best thing they came up with those holiday bags.
Oh, yeah.
Present, tissue paper, name, next.
Yeah,
But you were wrapping the pillow and sticking it in a bag.
yes, that's what I did. I had 2 kids on a Christmas tree that wanted bed pillows.
Oh,
So I bought bed pillows and tried to wrap them. It's really fun because they're already in plastic.
oh gosh.
I threw more paper away,
Oh, I hear you.
but it's done.
Yeah. You guys ready with this?
Sure, anytime you want to go.
We're going to open up the meeting. Thanks for coming. Everybody, if you need extra chairs, they're over there in the corner. Chuck and Dave, if you can't do it, they'll assist you. And thanks for all.
It's a stand-up routine. Yeah.
It's just you. Selecting you.
I know.
Dry. Very dry.
You want some stuff?
Wanted them to go first, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good idea. We're gonna just shuffle the deck a little bit, so to speak. We're gonna let these nice young ladies come forth and give us
Thank you.
their budget. And you're from the
Freedom Food Pantry.
food pantry. Okay,
Go.
go. You're on.
Okay. My name is Doris Soroy. I'm the co-director of the Freedom Food Pantry. This year we're requesting level funding for 2019, and we thank you for the continued support that we have received for the past 6 years. As of the end of December last year, 32.3% of the families that we fed were from Effingham. As of the end of September, the number has gone up to 33%, and as of the end of November this year, Effingham families is 35% of the families that we feed. More than 70% of our clients are seniors and disabled, and those who have been seniors for a long time find that their funds have not kept pace with inflation. So therefore, they're kind of in the shadows. They don't like to ask, but they certainly can't make ends meet. The job market in this area remains a challenge. More than 400 jobs were eliminated when Lakeview closed. Travel is a problem for food pantry clients because they don't tend to have reliable transportation. So most of them tend to work jobs around here that are seasonal, which doesn't give them any benefits. And food stamp or SNAP benefits were cut in 2014 when the 10-year Farm Aid bill was passed. Food prices also can be impacted by the droughts and the major weather events throughout the country. The fires in California was part of the growing area. And our first source of food is USDA, and we get that at no cost. That comes in from the federal government every 2 months. Our second source of food is from the New Hampshire Food Bank, and that is delivered to West Ossipee monthly for us to pick up, and we can order that at 23 cents a pound. And everything else that we give out at the food pantry is purchased locally. Our pantry does receive some donations, which vary. We rely mostly on the funding that we receive from the 3 towns that we serve. And we appreciate your consideration for our request to continue our mission.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, do you have any? He's chairman of the budget committee. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Hi.
No, I mean, it's impressive on your percentage of, funds to overhead. I mean, it's 0. Everything you have goes back into your community for charity. And we appreciate you providing all the data to the budget committee that was requested. I know it was a new sheet this year. It was something that we wanted to try and get an informed opinion on every charity.
We did start out the end of September, and I had figured out the number of families divided by the number of people. The $5,000 was 864 people. So it turns out that we're feeding them for $5.79 per person per year.
Some charities,
basically,
some charities require a lot of overhead out of that dollar, and
I was just going to say.
Freedom Food Pantry's not one of them.
Right, and the need is still there. I mean, we can exist as long as we have funding. If we don't have funding, we can't continue. But the people will still be there, so if they're not getting food from us, they will be looking for food vouchers from the welfare department.
Yeah.
That's just, $5.76, did you say?
$5.79 per person per year. I should handle your food budget.
Awesome. That just doesn't seem like it.
At 23 cents a pound, you'd be surprised. When I get a full delivery from the food bank, very often it's 2,000 pounds worth of food, which could stock the pantry for a month, but there's sometimes the food bank is empty. The need will be, it'll be full through the end of December. People are in the giving mood through the holiday season. But there are 400 plus agencies that order from the food bank, so even though the food bank might look full, in 3 days it could be empty.
Wow.
How long have you been doing this?
I have been involved with the pantry for 12 years. I have been the director. This is going into my 8th year. Because when I took over, they handed me the checkbook and I looked at the funds and I looked at what we were spending and I figured I would lock the door in 9 months. So I had asked other counterparts at food pickups, where do you get your funding? And they said, you go to March Town Meeting and they give it to you. So it was a little more involved in that, but I did find out the routine. You knew petition warrant articles. You need to go speak. You need to do this for 2 years in a row. And then you will be sort of slotted into the nonprofit status. So since we have gotten funding from the towns, that has kept us level. So we can continue to do this if we can continue to be funded.
Amazing ratios.
Yeah.
It's great what you can do.
Thank you.
Yeah. My calculator doesn't make it work. I don't know how you do what you do.
I know where to shop, even locally.
Right.
Even locally, I know where to shop.
I got a Christmas gift list. I'm gonna
Wanna
have to talk
hand
to
it
you about.
I got 3 boys. Can you keep that to $5 each?
No.
I'll even go 6.
They probably have hollow legs and that wouldn't work.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much.
That's it? No more
That's it.
questions?
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay. Score it.
He's gonna score us.
Yay!
You did
Thank
inform
you.
them about,
The 8th at
Come back on
6:30.
January 8th at 6:30.
well, not mandatory, but suggested.
Yeah.
At 6:30
Yep.
to see
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And if it changes for any reason, do you have her number? Call her, because she doesn't have a computer.
Well, if it's snowing,
Just-
I will call
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Claudia
Yep.
or
That's
the
good.
town office.
Yep.
If we're having a weather event, yeah, it's subject to being moved.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure of that.
And it will be 6:30 here.
Correct.
Okay.
Great.
Gotta check all the boxes, you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
Well,
coming.
that's what happened last year.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for everything you do.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Everything you do.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Thank
Merry
you.
Happy
Christmas.
New
Same to
Year.
you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Happy and healthy,
Thank you,
ladies.
ladies.
Thank you.
You were in finance.
I want their budgeting techniques.
How do you do that?
Not time to open a restaurant with those two.
It's
I don't care if you can cook.
USDA for free, definitely something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of the grocery chains, with the excess stuff they have,
Charity stuff.
they also donate. And being able to charge out 23 cents a pound is
But everything goes back into the food pantry.
Oh, yeah.
There's no.
I was amazed at the data they sent us. I was amazed at it.
And it
They're
take-
one of the best ones out of all the charities that are asking for money from our town.
I can tell you the line when I painted that church on the inside of that church, where they have it. The lines on a Saturday morning from 9 to noon, wrapped right around the block.
Wow.
Right, and they got a dumbwaiter, and they put the order on the dumbwaiter. They send it down. They fill it up with a box, and they bring it back up again. Yeah, it's crazy.
Drive through?
Maybe they might be thinking about that, but yeah.
Well, I'm sure it takes a lot of energy to go out and solicit from the different stores and from
course it
people,
does.
so, you know, and keeping everybody involved that they must have to
Every
do.
town.
Yeah.
Well, the folks who work there, you know, volunteers get people do all that, so.
Yeah,
Well, it's like free, you know, volunteer to time free.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right,
Back into the files here?
back into the, we gotta get the manifest out.
Okay.
No manifest yet?
No.
I was still working on it.
Oh, okay.
I'll go see if it's ready,
Okay.
because, you know.
Yeah, it's like,
We talked about this last night.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know.
John, do you know how much that budget was for the food pantry?
I'm not sure what it was.
I'll look it up, it's okay.
I believe it's 5.
Oh, yeah, right, 5,000.
Even?
The request, yeah, it's 5,000. What their budget is, I didn't catch. You can see.
I didn't know about it.
This should probably be in the action folder, not the signature folder. Almost the place to sign it.
It's nice that the phone bills don't have all that long distance stuff on them.
From the sheet she had. Yeah. She has it in the you wanted. One thing that just bounce it, double check it. Yeah. Because I was taking some from her reports and from what she did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What's the change of the date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that later. He called me just before we came in. from John. That's interesting.
What?
That's interesting.
I know. I said maybe at a work session.
Yeah. Yeah. And work session again, we can probably discuss this because he called, so I touched base with him.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll share with you and Lenny at another point in time what happened.
One of these slips from Bob, he's got Elm Street on two of them. I think one of them should be Green Mountain Road, because that's what he's got on Elm Street, Green Mountain Road, Town. So he did the one right by Elm Street on Green Mountain Road. So.
I don't know what this is even doing in here. This came from plan link communication. That really doesn't have anything to do with us. But this is the discussion from yesterday. He called and I told him basically what we talked about. He was going to prepare something for us, a rationale of why. You know, I said, yeah, you talk to us. And this is rather interesting, so that's another thing for future consideration.
Be a good idea.
What's that?
It'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I thought, that's what I said, I thought that was pretty interesting. See where that leads. Nothing I want to kind of get into until we have a discussion, though.
Right.
Yeah, waiting on that. I think.
Yeah, what's this on?
I'll put them all over at you. Where do you take these from? Are these rebates or?
Yeah, Chris, are the taxes paid on this?
Michelle did this one,
I don't
so
know if
if
it's
you
got
have it, I imagine.
anything to do with the,
Just FYI.
the first one or something?
Yeah.
The taxes are
It's
paid.
all
Wrong parcel.
Taxes are paid when they're not paid.
Right, okay. I'll let her know.
Yep, no problem.
Figuring since she's on that side, she probably.
Oh, yeah.
checked it, right?
Yeah, she doesn't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume see these.
No,
No?
I think that might be a new library hire. Because the other person I didn't know was Piper, and that seems to be part of the collection and stuff.
Wasn't that Teresa's wife? Like Patricia Butler?
Oh, all right, yeah. I never knew the last name. You're right. this is?
It's a CD of Christmas songs.
Okay.
It's from Mr. Eric Potter.
Who's it for?
For you,
It's for me?
personally.
Personally, it says to Mike Cahalane, Merry Christmas.
Trying to save you.
Alrighty then.
There you go. Something that you can open away, light the fire and sit by it and have some chocolate truffle ice cream with your favorite additive.
Wanted to make sure they had something under the tree.
Nice, nice. It'll fit well with all the surrounding coal. It'll be nice. And Lawrence?
You guys all ready?
Sure.
All right. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which sustains one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thanks for coming. We just had a little shuffle of the agenda. We had the Freedom Food Pantry come in and speak a little ahead of time, but they wanted to come in and just tell us what they're doing and, you know, what they're asking for. And it's level funded, same as last year. And so we asked them to come back the 8th and present it again in front of us and the budget committee. They just got the dates mixed up. So rather than send them home kind of disheartened, we let them speak. So on that note, I would make a motion to approve the manifest of $22,539.32.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I also make a recommendation to approve the minutes of the non-public on December 4th.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Also on December 4th, the selectmen make a motion to accept the minutes on December 4th of the selectmen's meeting.
Second it.
Any discussion?
Nope.
No? Okay. We did have in the signature folder, we did have 3 abatement sheets, an intent of cut, a Sanders searches agreement, and 3 supplemental warrants. And that's about it. And the action folder, of course, we will review dig and doze. There was a sewage system extension notice. And the mail folder, it was a Public Works magazine. I think I'm going to go to this, the pavement marking workshop. I don't know about you, Mike, but we might go to that. And we had a letter from Camp Marist. And we also, we had a letter from Dave Potter note. So, a note from Dave Potter. All right. With that, you guys got anything else before we go into non-public you want to discuss?
Non-public or public?
Public comment. All right, public comment. Go ahead. Lawrence.
Mr. Espie brought up about 3 months ago about the Champion Road. And now we have ice built up there 5-6 inches deep, and there's no signs or anything up notifying the public that there's ice built up on the road.
You stole my thunder, because that's what I was going to ask for today.
You
Signs. I was going to ask to purchase signs today for each end of the road.
Well, it's a little late, John.
Well,
And we have this weekend, which is going to be warm. A grader will fix that swale if the selectman can notify the road agent to fix it.
can I
If
answer?
you don't, you're going to fight that ice built up all winter long.
I can answer that right now. I did call Bob Battles, and he said, there's nothing we can do on Champion Hill Road. I spoke to him this morning, I left a message last night, called me back this morning, and he said there's nothing to do. So I don't know where you're getting your information, but...
My information is from experience. My experience is we have a swale down that road, and that swale has been plugged for the last year. And there's been no maintenance done from the town on that road in the last year, John.
Well, I can tell you that we did talk to Bob about it several times, and nothing got done. I know Lenny had spoken to him, nothing got done.
No, but Lenny brought it up at the meeting, but you two chose not to.
That's not true.
To do anything.
That's not true. That's not true.
Why isn't it done?
Because Bob never did it.
He didn't do it because you waited until it froze up.
That's not true.
He had a chance to do it.
Lenny, speak up. We talked to him before that. Speak up. You know what happened.
Well, I was for, I don't know, 3 months, but I was quite a while every week asking about Champion Hill.
Yeah.
And you said we got to finish the grading first.
Yeah.
Well, then you said you were going to call Bob and have him do it.
No, we all agreed that we had to finish the grading first. Not that
I mean, we could have, Kevin does the grading. It doesn't take 4 guys to do the grading.
Yeah.
So,
but Bob never did it.
But you really never get to Bob to do it. Because I saw Bob and I said, have you heard from John? And he says, no, I have not.
Well, that's not true.
I'm just going on what he said. So.
That's not true. But anyway, be as it may, we have a mess now.
And the other thing is, John, you said nothing is going to be done unless you say so. There was never a board vote on that. So Lenny has just...
We don't have to have
You don't have to have a board vote for that.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Okay, that's
And
right.
Lenny has just as much authority as you do.
Exactly.
And so Lenny should have called Bob Battle and told him what needed to be done on Champion.
I think the board will work amongst itself to do these things, and we're pretty well got it divided up who's going to do things. We run it through each other. It gets covered. John's the point on it. We've all talked about Champion Hill. We'd like to see something done. If you can reach out again to Bob, if there's some effort that can be put out there, as well as probably Ron, to see if there's something you can do with getting that melt off of there with the warm weather. At least we can try and go about that in the moment. As far as how the board's going to run, the board's going to operate together as a board. We'll work that out.
That's right. One selectman has no authority whatsoever. If you vote to give John that authority, he has that authority. If you don't vote for that, he don't have that authority. So what's going to be done with the Champion Road?
I think we were just discussing that. I think
We just said what we're going to do. Reach out to Bob again.
As well as Ron, our winter
And Ron,
contract.
maybe Ron can do something. Bob told me this morning there's nothing that you can do. I don't care what experience you have, that's past news, because you're not the road agent. The road agent today told me there's nothing to do. He cannot do anything to that road.
So we're going to fight that ice all winter.
Unless Ron maybe comes up with a plan.
What about scraping that?
The water is coming off the
It's coming out of the ground from it's like granite's under the ground up past the cut. So water's coming out on the side of the road.
It's not the clear cut. That's the one.
Right.
No, we know that.
And there's material
So
that's
what-
built up there's debris in there that needs to be cleaned out, but there's a lot of
We know
material
that
that's
too.
heaved up there from a past project. Somebody had put a bunch of asphalt or whatever laid in by hand. There's no appropriate ditch in there to pull that water down to where it needs to be. So we're going to see if we can get somebody out to deal with it. I was on that road the other day. I walked it. I sanded and salted it out of my own vehicle because it was a Sunday afternoon. Looked at it. I walked the thing up and down to see what could be done. I know what's running under there for the driveway basin that the gentleman has right there. It's working. It's a matter of getting that water to stay in a ditch line. So we're going to reach back out to the contractor, and we'll see what our winter plowing contractor can do as well. We'll try to find a solution.
I'd like to say that last year, when the maintenance was done, they did not have this problem, if I am correct, Lenny. And we haven't had that problem for quite a few years where the water has run out there and froze. Because the ditch was cleaned and the culvert so that it could run down through.
That's accurate as far as what's taking place right now. We're going to try and address it.
So it isn't that the swale was put in there not correctly. It's keeping it clean from debris and keeping the culvert so it isn't full to the very top so something can go through it.
Well, culverts need to be cleaned out, and the swale, what's going on the side of the road there is a combination of things, and whatever took
Maybe
place.
the swale should be replaced. It's probably been in there 12, 15 years.
Well, we're going to look at it.
Not everything lasts forever.
No? That's interesting. We just thought we were one and done, but we'll look at it. Since we now realize that, we'll look at it.
You guys have done no maintenance this year whatsoever. You've done a little bit of coal patching and a little bit of grading. You've done half the grading that we normally do. It's maintenance. You guys don't do maintenance. You don't understand maintenance.
Okay.
That road needs maintenance. You have this weekend, which is going to be warm, which you can fix that, but you guys, it's up to you guys whether you chose to do it or you chose not to do it.
All right. Are you finished? I'm just waiting. Are you guys done? Okay.
Trying to get it through your thick head, John, you know?
Okay. Any other public comment? Yeah.
On that note, I'm going to be offering a petition warrant article for the voters to vote on in March. It's a Governor Wentworth Regional School District petition warrant article. It took some research to do this because you have to go through Title 15, Chapter 39, RSA 159, 12A, 12B, and 197:6 to figure out how to do this right. So this petition warrant article is due January 8th, and I got plenty of signatures now so far, but I want to try to get as many as possible from all the district towns. And what this warrant article will do is let the voters decide if they want an elected budget committee for the district. It's already in statute that you're allowed to do it, but the district would have to vote on it. So that's what this is. And I'm just offering this for anybody who would want to sign this perhaps, along with, I have the selectmen of Ossipee, the selectmen of Brookfield. I'm getting the selectmen of New Durham. I'm going to ask, of course, Tuftonboro and Wolfboro. I don't know if they'll sign it, but I'm going to offer it to them. And there's many people in Ossipee that have already signed it, including most of their budget committee. So that's what I'm here for.
No, while you're reciting the RSAs in there, you know, originally my concern was that they, being an SB2, that wouldn't have to respond by putting in a budget committee. Are you saying there's an avenue to force the school district's hand on that issue?
It doesn't force the school district's hand. It allows the voters to have it on the ballot so they choose. The school board is considered the political subdivision as you are, where 26 signatures has to be submitted by a certain date that has been affixed by DRA to have it submitted to the school board, and they are responsible for checking the voter information and then putting it on the ballot. And it's up to the townspeople, so it'll be on your school ballot.
As a binding
Oh, it's absolutely
It's binding.
Yes.
Okay, that was on.
And how this will work is if this passes, then the statute reads that the moderator of the district appoints for the first year. And then that next year, the people are voted in the same method as the school board. So this process has always been in place. It's just been very convoluted. That's why I kept saying that I have to, and I actually submitted legislation now, which is going to help clarify this a little better. Perhaps bring in some of the components of all those RSAs and statute and put them in one form so it's more easily understood. Because this has been the problem all along, I believe. I asked people, do you know how to put something on the petition warrant article out for the school district? Most people didn't understand how to do it. And if you read the statutes, it's very confusing. So I think once this goes through, I think this will help all of us because it will empower the people over the district, and it will also open up the whole process of school funding. And now that we know this process works, we'll be able to have other things on the warrant also and on the ballot.
Okay.
So this is January 8th is the date that this is due to the school board. So.
Now, are you circulating sheets for signing, or?
Yes, I have this one, and there's one going to the other towns, and some other people are going around and signing. They're also their copies.
So you're leaving something here with the office for
No, I'm going
signatures?
to take this with me.
Okay.
I have another copy with me if you want me to leave it here, but I got to pick it up by Thursday because I don't want this lost.
Okay.
So I can leave one here.
Well, I didn't know what your overall goal was, so I'm not
The goal is
asking you to do anything.
I just need 26 signatures, and I already have that.
Oh, okay.
But I want to bring to the school board an overwhelming number to show them that this is a serious issue, at least for the towns that are concerned about it.
Sure.
So, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, we've got you here. Can I ask you a question that's related to your duties as a state rep? One of the things that seems to have become problematic is a funding issue with Bridge Aid. I understand when there was a transition between roles for who was overseeing the program to who is now, and I may have this wrong, but it seems that there was a lot of competition for the funds, like at once. There was more bridges got entered into this year's round than was money for. There was some mix-up or some such. But just the same, I understand there's now, after a review, there's a backlog of communities trying to get Bridge Aid money to the point where funding is an issue. Is there any movement to up the level of funding for the infrastructure projects that were all the small towns like ours are suffering from?
I would have to look into what the proposals are now that the legislature has changed. I'm certain there's something in the works to find more funding to do that. But if you say there's a backlog in applications, I would think how much was in the account and how much was left after that.
You know, I'm not prepared to speak to it from really understanding what took place, but I think they're not even taking new sign-ups now for bridges. So I really don't have all my ducks in a row. It's kind of getting all this second or third hand, but it seems like there's been a backlog and the system's clogged up and there's funding issues I'm hearing. So.
Well, I can certainly look into it. We have a new executive counselor. A new executive council, a new legislature, a new Senate. So I think there's going to be certainly changes in how it's done. But I can look into the backlog. I can look into if the process has changed, if I can bring any submitted legislation that would show that they're trying to find more funding. I can find that out for you and bring it to you.
That's great. Yeah, because obviously it's something that's will affect us because we're in the program. I know some of the surrounding towns are too. So I just thought I'd bring it to your attention.
You're gonna hear a lot this session about lack of funding everywhere. There's a pension, an employee pension. The pension system's going to be in trouble. So that's going to be an issue we're going to have to deal with. There's the adequacy funds for the schools that we're going to have to deal with. There's many funding issues, many branches. One of them is the infrastructure bridge funding. So there's going to be a lot of funding.
Is this all coming to light all of a sudden now, or was
No, because the legislature has a habit of kicking things down the road in order to get reelected. So they don't want your taxes to go up, so they just simply don't give you money, don't spend anything, and just wait for the next legislature to fix it. So I think the chickens are coming to roost.
Yeah.
And the pension is going to be a big one.
Sure.
And to try to deal with that and deal with the school funding, which is going to be an issue, and I mean, I hate to mention this to everybody, but there's in the works, a sales and income tax is rolling around, allowing for local infrastructure. There's the local option, which you already have available to you, but nobody wants to put it on a ballot because that means your taxes are going to be going up. But the local option would allow you to collect taxes for your town for infrastructure projects. So that's up to you, but I'm just saying there's many avenues that you're going to hear about state funding, about.
Put a toll bridge on.
Okay, so I'll bring that information back.
Yeah, I'd be interested in any of this and where it's going, so thank you.
Yeah. And I'm always available. You can always contact me and I'll give you a tour. I think your school at some point is going to have a tour. Come with your school and I'll show you around.
All right, that's
I'll show you where your money's spent.
All of it?
Yeah. Don't get me started.
Thanks for all your work, though, Ed. Thank you so much.
I'll leave that other copy in there.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other public comment?
I have something on public comment. We have an issue with the residents in town. They're taking care of a bedridden patient. I'm not sure if they're getting paid to do this or not. Every year they don't plow the driveway, and every winter, we've already been this year, you can't get down the driveway because it's all ice. Would it be appropriate for the town or the fire department to send them a letter, ask them, it's dangerous to us, the ambulance crew is very skeptical about walking down this driveway. Like I said, we do this every year, and we've already done it this year. It's a hazard to our health. If they expect us to be able to do our job, they should be plowing the driveway or sanding or doing something.
Put safe passage anyway.
Because even if the house got fired, we have to fight from the street because we couldn't put a truck down there. Who knows what the truck would have done? Like I said, the driveway's all ice, it's downhill. What's your opinion of the town, the fire department, somebody write them a letter saying?
I think we probably need to know what we're allowed to do in a situation like that. I mean, off the top of my head, don't know what we can do legally.
I'm not sure if they're getting paid by the state to watch this person or not.
Oh, that's interesting, because if the state was paying for patient care like that, I think that's one of the stipulations, is
Right.
the access and egress points are cleared.
Well,
Yeah.
you can leave the info.
Yeah, I think we'll need to get some
If you guys want to think
guidance.
about it, fine.
Yeah.
I need to get some guidance on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we could do. off the
Yeah,
top of my
just leave the info with Claudia or
Okay.
Christine, and we got to dive into this a little bit more
Yeah,
because it is private property. And
right.
what is our legal parameter to
require them to do
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
exactly? I mean, unless the only thing you can do is put them on notice that's saying that if you need. I'm not even going to say that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not even going to say that. We have to look into
Insurance
that.
companies, or a lot of the insurance companies. House
Yeah.
catches fire, and it can be a tough time getting in there.
Yeah. All right.
I think that all that accomplishes is they could lose their insurance coverage. I don't know that that's ultimately going to help you.
But, yeah, just leave that information with Claudia, and we'll collectively let you know what we can do and what we can't do.
Okay. Yep. The other thing I'd bring up is Thursday we're gonna go sign our off our radio contract for the radios we got.
Yeah, what's the to make it a
Kenwood,
what's Kemp?
yeah. The Yoda Motorola, it's gonna cost you $90,000 to get what we want.
Yeah.
Ken, with this radio here is a dual display head. It costs $1,200 more than one without a dual display head. So we've tried these around town. We've gone to the different areas in town with poor reception, poor output. And they're picking us up. So
Is that just portable?
yes.
Yeah.
The radios we're ordering aren't going to be out available till mid-January. So, which is fine because we have to August to spend the money. So.
Okay.
And they'll be, you know, just manufactured, so hopefully they'll work fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this portable here costs $1,200 more than the one without the dual display. My opinion, we've been all this time without dual, we don't need them now,
Yeah.
especially for $1,200. We get more portables. The only issue is battery life. I'm not sure if it's because of the dual. Battery life seems to be
Less?
minimum.
What is it?
It's
You
Kenwood-
think?
I don't know if it's a Kenwood battery, but
No, what's the life on it, you know? Couple of, what is it, 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours?
I don't know, the guy's been using it, so they got to keep putting in the charger.
Oh,
But they do make of course this is the generic, you want to say battery for it?
Yep.
They do make a more powerful battery, which I guess the guys who were like more expensive, which is expected, but I mean, we get the radios are cheaper and we can afford those batteries.
yeah, you can offset.
Because we have to spend the full $60,000, we're gonna get money back. So,
Okay.
so Thursday we're going over to hammer out a contract, basically. Carry it in writing.
And where are they?
Must be mom.
Oh, Espie Mountain.
Yeah.
How many units are you looking to purchase?
Well, by grant, we have to get at least 13. But, like I say, we just spent 60. If we have extra money, after we buy the 13, we can put it to anything toward radios. So we can buy more portables, more batteries.
You're getting a new base radio, right?
That's included.
Yeah.
New
Oh,
base-
really?
New base, new mobiles. Every form of communication getting replaced with the updated equipment.
And how many members do you carry on your roster now?
Right now, we're up to 16.
Okay.
We just had 3 more join, all younger, all just turned 18.
Oh, wow.
One's going to UNH and 2 are going to the Votech in Laconia. And they're taking their EMT test beginning next month. So, and by the time, this time next year, they'll be firefighter 1 as well. So it's all training they're getting that we don't have to pay for.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I suppose the radios will hit from everywhere in town.
We've gone everywhere in town.
There's no dead spots.
There
That
probably
you
is.
found.
We just haven't found
Yeah.
it. The thing about this is, you know, there's different repeaters. Over here we're on C because it clears a bell. B you can't get at all. But over by the fire station you get A, C, and down by Providence Lake you can get B. So far everywhere in town we've gone, we've been able to get out and they've been able to hear us.
Yeah.
Great. I can't thank you so much for the town. All the grants you've been getting and saving,
We called
you
the
know.
gentleman yesterday, scheduled a time, he said, about Thursday, 1 o'clock. I said, well, we meet at 12 and you buy us lunch.
What did he say?
He refused.
He refused?
I said, for 60,000, you can buy us lunch.
Yeah.
At least a Happy Meal.
Yeah. I didn't say where, and we told him any place you want to take us.
Anything else, Randy?
Did you bring him up on the ambulance?
No, I figured that was discussion stuff that's still not really out there for
Right.
consumption yet. So,
Just that we've been working toward a new ambulance contract. The ambulance contract that expires in 2 months. So we're trying to get the best bang for our buck.
yeah. Essentially, the chiefs have been meeting to address whatever we've learned in 4 years as to deficiencies, identify them if there are any that exist, look to our future needs for the next upcoming contract cycle, try to build in anything into our contract request that might be significant going down the road. We've got trying to get input from all 6 towns to see who's experiencing what, who's happy, who's unhappy, what can be done to address it. So talks have been taking place. Some selectmen have been showing up involved, but it primarily was revolving around the fire chiefs to get their expert opinions and the data and the stuff they deal with on a daily basis. And trying to let them kind of package up what the needs are to present to the folks like us who don't live the life every day. So they're our experts, and we'll see if we can get input from them before it's the witching hour and we have to sign a contract. Kind of get ahead of it for roughly a year, and see if everybody can be satisfied the best we can. Finances are always the big motivator. We'd love to have an ambulance for every 200 people in town, but that's not going to happen. Love to have 6 different locations, but that's not going to happen. So it's a give and take. But folks are working on that, just so you know.
One last thing. You recall when, I don't know if you was looking at the time, Green Mountain Rehab comes in, told us they wouldn't put any more strain on our services.
Yeah. Anderson?
I think they've had turnover in leadership.
Right, but they're also full of you know what. They also told us they wouldn't have detox. They have detox up there now. During the day, there's 106 people up there. They bust them in from their other houses, and at night because they're only licensed for 88 beds. I believe they only have like 65 people stay up there now, but the rest get bust out.
Yeah, they're outpatient.
All right. The last year, Lakeview was open. We went up there 40 times. This year, we've been up there 61. So they have put more strain on us. They are doing detox.
Well,
okay, so
go ahead, John.
I would say that maybe there's a time for a meeting. Why don't you set up a meeting and let me know ahead of time?
I would also say we probably want to reflect on the planning board's site plan visit. There were parameters, there were agreements that gave us a baseline. So as to what they were going to do, how many patients, and whether or not there was going to be outpatient services and stuff like that. So I think a review of what the planning board had in place, and see if that's expanded beyond the scope, because that would allow us to say you've gone too far. So, well, we can address, get the planning board site plan update from that.
Should I sit down with the planning board, see what they've done first, or just set this meeting up?
I think we should just meet first.
I
and
think
see what they got going on.
In the meantime, I think I would get a copy of the site plan, whatever was agreed on, the minutes back then. I'll see if I can't get my hands on that information to have.
What do you think, Len?
Yeah, have a meeting with them and get the minutes, because I think there was some parameters laid out in that site plan.
Have you all ever been up there? You ever done a tour up there?
When I was a member of the planning board, we were able to visit the site. We met with the gentleman running the facility at that time, and I think they had an in-house doctor, right? Teresa's here from the planning board. So we did have a walkthrough. We had the majority of the planning board members. I think we might have had one member missing, but there were quite a few people in attendance, and they did bring us through as much of the facility as we could cover. So we did the main facility, not all the outbuildings, because it was substantial, and I think it was maybe the time of year where it got dark a little bit earlier. Things looked very good at the time, but we did kind of go through some established parameters of what they were doing, essentially what they had said they were going to do. So we'd have to reflect back on that to hold them to that.
Yeah.
So we'll see if where that shakes out. But I think that's the legal footing to say when something is being abused, or if they're in the agreement. So
what are the major calls you're going up for?
Basically, they're ambulance calls. 16 have been fire calls. All the rest have been ambulance. That's 55.
False alarm?
45.
Or really?
Mostly by workers.
Oh.
However, now the person who's in charge of maintenance is one of our members, so he can call us off ahead of time. But he just started like a month ago, so he's figured out that when they were, say, the sprinkler company come up and test the system, they'd always forget to put it on test. So we had told him, no, we get up there. He said they can do that by their phone now. why they never did before. Just somebody can do it on his phone, put the whole system on test.
Whose phone? Your member's phone?
Yeah, whoever's got that, I suppose it's got an app.
Yeah.
I'm not up on that stuff.
Code.
All right.
But there's a significant rise in ambulance calls,
Right.
which is problematic.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I'm not.
Yeah.
And those are not responses typically for any real care. I mean, they're, I don't know how much you can even get into that, but.
There's been a couple of kayak arrests up there, and also been,
So some of them are
some of them are legit.
legit.
I mean, serious, but I'm not gonna say they're not legit.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Are they workers or clients or?
Oh, they've been clients.
Yeah, all clients.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to look at that.
Good.
Yes.
Is this about Granite Recovery Center? The Granite Recovery Center?
Green Mountain.
Green Mountain.
Well, it is part of Granite.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Green Mountain was sold to Granite
It is.
Recovery Center.
Well, we weren't informed of that, so.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Well, it's part, Granite Recovery is the original one, and Eric, I can't remember. Spofford, it's his company, and Green Mountain is part of that. So they had made an arrangement with the owners of Lakeview, and I don't know how far it's gone, but it was part of his owner financed, I think.
Because Mr. Spotford watches your meetings, so whatever you're saying will get to him.
Yeah.
Well, he was, just to touch on that, he was very open when we had our interactions with him. He seemed very approachable. So I think, you know, I wouldn't anticipate any problem having a meeting with him. He was very much in favor of meeting with the town. So if there's things to be addressed, I think I'd give him the benefit of the doubt that he would be willing to work with us. So.
Any other public comment? Okay. Selectmen's comments and reports. Lenny, what do you got?
Well, do you want to grab the library folks? They're here. They were for 5, John. I don't know if that didn't seem to make it on the agenda.
Tell them to read a book and we'll get back to them.
Nice.
Oh.
Are you, I just have a question, are you going over the Human Services requests tonight?
Unfortunately, nobody got in touch with you.
No, they didn't, so here I am.
Not the only one.
The 8th.
January 8th.
January
At
8th for
6.
the budget. Okay, so I don't need to be here tonight.
Right. Sorry about that. We thought we were remiss at getting on top of that early, but we had tried to reach out to everyone. I think there were about 10 nonprofits. Yeah, we weren't going to address that because we just thought we would look for a greater input from all the people that were making the decisions, like the Budgets Committee themselves, and maybe have more of a public forum to address it than we were.
Yeah.
It would probably be beneficial here. We think it'd be just a better setting. Sorry.
Okay, no problem, that's good. I have to go to another one for Osby Children's Fund. I'm here for another meeting.
Well, you dropped,
I'm
yeah.
going to go do Osby Children's Fund.
Making the circuit, huh?
Okay.
Thank you, Eve.
See you all later.
Bye.
All right. You want to do that and get back?
Yeah, I would. I think that's probably the best thing to do.
All right.
Is there somebody for the library that's representing? Or?
Those are the old ones and the packets of the new ones.
I'm not sure where Maureen is, but... Should we move up? We're up.
These? The ones with the big kit? Then you need to, so you have it. I don't know when it has. Doesn't look like it.
Need a package? I got some stuff here that I didn't see before. There's a back page. Hello.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing? There's all kinds of neat stuff that I didn't see on the paperwork I got before. Unanticipated funds ledger. Well, one of the things I was looking for that I didn't see in the budget request that I was trying to get a handle on, and I still don't think it's here, is budget versus actual. Essentially, in the operating lines, we have an operating budget of $14,175. On what I have in front of me, that was reflected in 2017 and 2018, and then it's filled in with what looks like this budget request, which has been consistent for 2 years, and there's some slight increases this year. What I wanted to know is how much money you actually spent on any given line, like the breakdowns. Essentially, that's what we do here on our budgets to the budget committee. We give them a, whatever it was, the line is, and what we spent. So I was just looking for that personally. Is there any reason we don't have that information? Is that not something you keep? Or?
It's in our minutes. You can see what our major budget items are. And if you want to look at the latest minutes, you can see our top 5 expenditures, basically.
Latest
minutes. Is it line by line? No, you're not going to get that. Because we don't have it.
What's that?
We don't have it.
Because you don't have it. Okay.
We don't have that printout. If you want to print out, it's going to be about 20 pages long. And we don't waste paper.
So.
What's your concern?
So there's not going to be anything that reflects how much money was spent on books or publication or workshops or any breakdowns. That's my concern. There's not going to be any of that. Which is what I was.
Well, the increase in our budget is pretty much just salary, if you look at what we submitted. Because we're giving a 2% pay raise.
Yeah, well.
I mean, the rest of it, books are, we have books and publications, 7,000, equipment. We kept all that stuff pretty much the same.
I think what we're looking for is just like every other department.
Yeah.
Is okay. So contracted services is $250. What did you spend out of the $250?
Well, let me ask.
I think that's what we're not really asking anything over the top.
Let me ask a question. The library gets designated money. We spend it on books, publications. We spend it on what we need to run the library. Are you asking that question because you're going to try to tell us that you don't want us to spend this much on books and publications, or you don't think we should be spending the money? That's why, I guess that's why we're kind of a little taken aback by why you want such detail.
I don't think that's the reason at all. I think what I would like to see is books and publications. You brought it up, 7,000.
Yeah.
It's level funded for 3 years.
Yeah.
What did you spend last year on books and publications? That's all.
You have minutes there, so go to the last page of the minutes.
By the minutes, these are what you're talking about?
And would you look at major expenses, and you'll see Baker and Taylor. That's our books. You'll see Amazon. That'll be our DVDs. You'll see micro marketing. That's another one of our audiobooks. Are you going to have book titles? No. Are you going to have
No, I'm not looking for it.
Yeah.
No.
So, why do you care about that?
We want to know where the money goes and what it gets spent on.
Well, that's what it gets spent on. We have a budget line. This is how much we spend a year on books and publications. Okay. That's pretty much what we've spent. We haven't really gone up unless they go up.
Where everything goes should be accountable.
It is accountable.
I'm just saying, we can ask the question where any of this funding, where the money gets spent.
Yeah,
Just like anybody who can walk in off the street can file a 91A request for anything. The library is susceptible to that, just like this board and any other part of the municipality. So when we ask where the money goes, I don't think it's unreasonable to have an accounting of it. And that's all we're trying to do.
That's not unreasonable, Mike. However, the detailed information you want, if you want that kind of detailed information, you're going to need to come to the library and look at it. Because to print all that stuff out is going to cost a fortune, and time, and effort on both the trustees and Crystal's part.
The way I add.
So we add stuff up, we look at it in the month, in our meeting, that's what we do.
Okay.
If you want a detailed breakdown of that kind of stuff, you're going to have to come to us. And Crystal can sit down with you, or Dennis can sit down with you and go over it line by line if that's how much you want to look at our budget.
There's a reasonable amount of detail that I would like because it's what these budget lines represent. Now, if you want to say we can get the reports, I can see that. The statutes are very clear on what the library is expected to submit for an annual report. And it's very extensive, and I'm not looking for that. But it clearly says that you guys are accountable in that fashion.
Of course it is.
It says that you are supposed to actually provide that. I'm not looking to enforce that. I just want reasonable questions to the budget lines. The library I haven't been here before, okay? Let's get that out there. I've watched the process for the last few years, and it has been somewhat contentious at the budget committee. I would like simple understanding, for me personally, I don't know about the rest of the board, of how where the money goes. So that when we go in front of the budget committee, maybe we can be on the same page as to just how all this works.
Okay.
So I need to understand it.
I would like to request then that if you have that want to understand it that deeply, you come and spend some time with us. That would be the best thing.
Okay, just to touch on it. Okay, books and publications. From what you've just told me, it's Baker and Taylor, Micro Marketing, and Amazon. Say DVD.
Those are our big three. Yeah.
Okay, so you spent, according to this thing, 55, 45, 46.
Up to that point, yes.
Yes. Okay, so you're asking for 7,000.
Yep.
And you still have that.
We have outstanding invoices that aren't included there. Those are only things that have been paid.
Okay.
To the recent report.
Yes.
So that would be.
And I'll tell you what, Micro Marketing and Baker and Taylor, they have some really weird billing practices. And so for me to say right now, I've probably got about $1,000 out that I expected to pay. Never mind what's been ordered for this month. We're going to hit that.
Okay.
Are you concerned about that
No,
amount of money?
No, what I'm concerned about is I think what we're trying to accomplish with the Budget Committee and the Board of Selectmen is to give the people a true picture of where the money's going. They're funding you. They have a right to know, just like they asked me, well, how come we're spending this, that, and the other thing? They have a right to know what association, where is all of this going? What do you have left over? And for Maureen to say that, come and talk to you, no. You are requesting money for the town. You come to us and say, this is why I want $64,555 to run the library. That's not a trick question. It's honest, above board. I'm not saying anything's dishonest. I'm saying
this
transparent.
Is insinuating that it is.
Well, I don't think he is, but what I'm saying is it's called transparency. That's all.
We're as transparent as a day is long.
Yeah. You know what? If I was new in town and I saw this, I would say, okay, I understand how the library works. I understand they need money to do, but okay, $7,000 of that. Well, okay, what did we spend for 7,000? If you say you spend 6,500 already, I mean, outstanding, I would say maybe 7,000 isn't going to be enough next year. Maybe you have to go up to 75.
Crystal, can you?
To compensate, because everything goes up. We all try to live of what it cost. Like for 3 years, you've been at 7,000. You've been eating inflation.
We were at 8,000. We came down probably 4 years ago.
Okay, that's
just
before
looking
me.
at the budget.
Yeah,
we made a concerted effort to try and purchase items from other libraries. I made a concerted effort to purchase used items.
I really have to. I have to grab this.
Okay.
This is work. But I'm not.
I mean, she can address those
Yeah,
questions
I don't-
if you guys have them.
Okay, just let me grab this.
Go ahead.
We get a copy of that budget. I don't have one. Libraries or John.
I might have a clean copy here. Let me see. I don't know if I
Chris,
do
give me
like
one.
Which one are you looking for?
Library.
library.
This page here?
Yeah. Thank you.
You should have it submitted a long time ago.
Yeah. I saw it.
Had a whole packet.
Yeah, there was a whole packet of stuff that's been submitted ages ago.
Probably get the bank account stuff there yesterday. That's all I got.
A lot of those lines we've kept level because we've been trying to be able to bring the salaries of our library director and our assistant library director to a point where it makes sense for them, they're well compensated, that they will stay. And so we've made a concerted effort to not raise other lines. It's the salary line that goes up.
Okay.
And still run an efficient library where people can come and get what they need.
Yeah, and I'm all for all of that.
We have an awesome library compared to a lot of other places. People are happy. I haven't heard one person complain about the library.
I'm not looking to find fault with the library or how it's running. I'm just looking for an accountability of where the money
goes. With the
goes.
library, they're very happy we're there. They're very grateful for everything that's done. I haven't heard one person complain about the library budget.
I haven't either. I think you guys are doing a great job.
We are doing a great job.
Okay. Again.
I'm its biggest fan, so.
I know that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that I think what the budget committee wants and what we want is not to beat up anybody, we just want just in line with every other department in town.
Well, this pretty much is in line.
It's.
I mean, you sound like you want more detail than what's here. This is how much we spend on books and publications. This is how much we spend on office equipment. This is how much we spend on postage. This is how much we spend when we go to seminars and workshops. This is what the telephone bill is.
I make a recommendation that in the future that you give more than just this worksheet if you want more detail.
Yeah. That is what the budget committee came up with, the worksheet.
Well, then we followed what the budget committee came up with. So if you want something different, give us a little more guidance. Because I don't want to sit here and do this next year.
I was trying to find out what you actually spent.
Well, actually, if you're going to ask the town for money, you're going to sit here.
But I meant with this, because we come in with this and you come with, well, that's not really what I want.
No, we didn't say that. You can laugh all you want, but I've been through the ringer with you, but I'm going to tell you right now, if I was in town and I was, office supplies, well, you spent $1,250 on office supplies.
What'd you buy, Crystal?
What's left over? What's left over?
What did you use them on? You can answer that question, right?
Sure. General office supplies. That's also the book.
I know that. I'm not getting to that. I just want an account. What we want and what the budget committee wants is what is the budget versus actual?
Do you have Quicken?
Huh?
Do you have Quicken?
No.
That's too bad, because I give you a thumb drive, say, here it is, take a look.
Me and computers don't get along.
Well, that's not helpful, John. I mean, we're offering you, if you want that kind of detail, we can put it on a thumb drive. You can look at every single bill we write.
I didn't even want that.
But then what do you want?
I want to know what is left over in the line. Did you overspend the line? Because like I said to him, 7,000, it's level funded for 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe, You're up to 55 already. He says he's got outstanding.
We do have outstanding.
You're not listening to me. If you let me finish.
Well, I know exactly what you're going to say.
He knows what I'm going to say. Maybe you could, I would say, well, wait, 7,000 isn't enough. Maybe 8,000.
No,
should go.
No.
Well,
listen,
No.
Maureen, this is your total MO. So I would really,
Well, I'm following
I would
what
really
you're saying.
defer to you three right now. So that's my only question. I'm not trying to beat up anybody. I just want a transparency on each line. That's what I would like. Now, if that wasn't spelled out to you, I apologize for that. But in the future, that's what we would ask for.
What I heard was that you wanted bank statements, which to me insinuates that
No.
one of us is pocketing some money.
No.
And I get very angry with that.
I never...
That was an insinuation that came through with the email that we received.
We were told
we did
you wanted
receive something about bank
statements.
statements. It was like, what?
Okay, I wanted to see the bank statements, and it's not to insinuate anybody's taking any money. It is because that's town money, and I'd like to know where the money is and how much is in there, because it affects what your operating line could be. Quite frankly, there's a whole, I brought up RSAs last year, I heard it this year. There's a whole stack of RSAs of what the library is supposed to do. If you guys don't want to do it, I'm not fighting that fight. So, since what I've got here is not what I want, and since you went into January 10th of this year with, looks to be $1,776 in the operating line for the account that is the operating line checking account. It shows deposits and an outstanding balance with no timelines to it. All I see is you went into the year with 18 3/4 of your budget remaining. I'll take that. And then when I look at, I saw one part in the year when you guys had allocated essentially $523, attempted to move from your operating budget to a salary line, when you provided more salary compensation than the selectmen were giving out. That was a concern, and I guess that got caught and didn't get funded. So that was a concern, because it looks to me like you overspent your budget line on salaries, which you were in. If everybody had realized all the allotted hours, you would have been in the red. And then I guess at the end of this year, according to your statement for December, it looks like you're going to have an excess of funds. It's showing here $2,388 with nothing being put against it, because none of this looks like a checking account kind of statements. So as far as I'm concerned, since we're not going to get cooperation, I've conceded to that. I'm on the point of where I would say at least a 10% reduction in the operating line should be looked at, and the salary line for 2% increase I would be in favor of, but it still doesn't include, it wouldn't cover what your salary line that you've already committed to is. Go right ahead, Grace.
Okay, I'm confused, so I have to say, so this is my first year as a trustee. This is the first time I've gone through this exercise. So just so I understand, so when other departments are coming in, are they giving what they spend to date, and then we're going line by line through it? I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
Yes.
Okay. So the library trustees have the responsibility to manage and run the library funding.
Right.
So have we gone through this line by line in previous years as well?
I don't know why we're doing it this year.
Because everybody else goes through it, and when this board takes our budget, which includes the library in it, we do that with the budget committee. We have to do an accounting. And right now, the only thing that's not accounted for, whether you take offense to it or not, is the library. We don't have breakdowns for it. That seems problematic to me, because it's not being provided. So,
It's our budget, when we get the money, we spend the money appropriately. We've never overspent, we've never underspent.
it's the same for this
We spend
board.
it on salaries, we spend it on, I mean, I don't
It's the same for this
understand-
board, and the budget process is this board takes all that to the budget committee and they go through it and review it. That's their job.
Yes, I
We're
understand
trying to
what their
clear
job
the
was.
air.
Mike, I was on the budget committee for years, you don't have to be telling me that.
Okay, then I'll tell you that I'm done because I'm not gonna get any cooperation. So I've put forward what
We-
I
we gave
recommend.
you all the
Because right now,
documentation you
as it
asked for,
stands,
except
when you
bank
go into
statements.
this year with a 2% increase on the salary line, you're going to be, just for the, without doing the second position, you're gonna be $611 in the red. That's problematic. You ended last year with the projections to be in the red on your salary line. You never adjusted, according to those statements that I saw, to the difference in the budget committee, the budget that it gave you, not the one you wanted.
I understand what we got, and we didn't get what we wanted. When we get our budget, it becomes the library's money, we then can spend it
Within that budget,
within
any
our
way you
budget,
want.
and if we decide to bump up the salary and not buy as many books, that's our choice. We need to be able to keep employees.
Maybe.
If you wanna,
Because there is a
if you wanna
personnel
close-
policy in
if
the
you wanna
town that I
close-
think that goes against what
if
you're
you wanna
saying, and I think
close
that's
down the
backed up by the
library,
statute.
If you want to close down the library,
nobody's talking
then
about
defund the budget. Because that's exact, and that's the second treasurer that's quit because of this whole process. Thank you very much.
He resigned already, he's moving out of town, so
Yeah.
don't dump that on
Well,
you,
he
Maureen.
just left.
There's an
He just
accountability,
left.
or there's no
He
accountability.
just left mad because you
I
insulted
can't
him.
help that. I didn't
Yeah,
insult
yeah,
him.
you
If
can
he
help
wants to
him.
take things the way he's taking them, that's fine.
So
I'm not-
let me-
I want an
I've been doing this for
accounting.
Listen,
25 years,
May I
this dance.
ask a question of the chairman?
Same dance,
Yep.
25
Okay.
years.
Hi,
Hi, Grace, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How
Great.
are you?
Find your
So-
center.
Yes, exactly.
Bye guys, sorry, I can't do this.
All right. So can we start this conversation over again? May I suggest we start this conversation over again? Because I want to make sure I understand what it is that's required for missing information. I'm not sure I quite understand.
Okay. I think what it's simple. We're trying to complicate this whole issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so you budgeted, again, books and publications. I'm not picking on
Yeah.
that. I'm just
Just use
saying.
it as an example.
Yeah. An example, 7,000. Okay? What, out of that 7,000, what was spent? That's all we're looking for. So we can say, and the budget committee can look at it and say, okay, again, you're up to 6,500 this year with another, I don't know, $1,000 that are outstanding. So that'll bring it up to 65, and plus maybe other stuff that's coming that hasn't been paid for yet. I can look at that and I can say, you know what, Grace, the library needs more than 7,000. Or I can look at something and say, hey, you budgeted, I'm not picking on anything,
Sure.
office equipment and supplies, okay? $1,250, right? You budgeted, but you only spent $600. Then I can say, well, wait a minute, do we really have to go to that $1,250, or can we come to in the middle, a happy medium? All right, it's a give and take. You know, everybody, we're all in the same boat. Everybody pays taxes, blah blah blah. So we look in every which way. Maybe we give you more money, and maybe we could say, hey, Grace, do you think we can meet in the middle with the $1,250 because you only spent X, Y, Z? That's all we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to get a handle on. What is appropriated and what is spent. That's all. We're not trying to say anybody's. One second. We're not saying anything. We're not trying to be malicious. We're not trying to be, judgmental. We just want to keep the library in line with all the other departments, instead of just giving this and say, okay, here you go, budget committee, 7,000. This is what we want. Well, sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. That's all. That's all we're trying to do.
We look at.
Okay.
All I'd like to say is I mean, granted, I'm relatively new to this procedure too. I'm still relatively new as a director. This is my 3rd year. This is the first year that we've had to go in front of the selectmen. Now, we received paperwork from the budget committee back in July or August regarding what they were looking for. I spoke with the selectmen a few months ago, face to face, and learned what the selectmen were maybe looking for. I couldn't quite answer those questions. I brought it back to the board. Our treasurer, who can't speak to this, he's out of the room, had emailed Claudia, or the selectman's office, asked me for something in writing. And as far as I know, that email wasn't answered. And I spoke with Claudia a few weeks ago when I was here on a Friday and had mentioned the email, and she said she hadn't got it. I don't know if there was a miscommunication. I know that that office is in between staff. So at our previous treasurer's meeting, or the trustees meeting, I brought that up again, and that was when we received the letter from Claudia in writing asking for bank statements and budget versus actual. And we felt as a board that if we submitted the treasurer's reports for the last 10 months, roughly, as much as we could supply, that would suffice. You know, when it comes down to supplying like actual receipts and documentation, I mean, we have a giant folder in the library, and I guess that's where there was some confusion.
A couple of things here. First, you're doing a great job, all right? And the library is fine. In no way does anybody think anything's inappropriate is taking place with the library. You got to. What was really looking for was what are the ending statements for your balances, and at the time of the request, it was essentially what is the operating budget that's provided here through taxation as your operating line. Where is that at the end of the year? What is that? And then it's the budget versus actual. We know what the budget requests have been for the last couple of years. We don't know where the money was actually spent on in those categories. It's the accuracy in budgeting. So at the selectmen's table we have 8 pages of things, and the budget committee will say, well, we gave you so much for roads, and in there you had materials, but you didn't spend half of your money on materials. Next year you didn't spend half your money on materials again. They're going to look at that line and say, well, we can either cut your budget by whatever you're not spending, you can start spending it, or we can allocate that to another budget line that maybe is where the money is going to reflect where the money is actually going, what the town is spending the money on. And that's what we've been trying to get from, well, we get from other boards and departments, and quite frankly, we have tons of things that we get that are our own items. So we'll have a budget sheet for a certain function here in the town, a line item, and then we'll get a printout, say, where the money went. And Claudia will print this out, and we'll go through it to make sure the categories are the right categories and so forth, and put them into
if I could allude to what Dennis was getting to, that paperwork that's nicely 2 pages, the Quicken report that Dennis has to compile to go into the monthly treasurer's report, you see, is
it's daunting, and it would not be easy for you to put these in those lines.
That's where we felt that the treasurer's report kind of was a concise report of roughly what is spent monthly over the past X months.
Okay. And as you had some references there that could be equated to a line.
Sure.
And perhaps the phones are paid for by the library, not here.
Correct.
Is that a sufficient funding? You have $500 for phones. Is that what you're spending for phones? Or like John said, are we spending $700 for phone because that price isn't going to go down? Mr. Fuller.
Chuck Fuller, Snow Road. I understand Dennis said 20 pages of detail. To me, that's more detail than you guys need.
Correct.
My personal opinion. With the categories that are on the budget sheet that was submitted, if you had the year-to-date numbers, the actual, for these column 10 categories, Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So from a detail standpoint, from what the library has to pull together, it's basically summarizing year-to-date for these 10 against the request that they have with an explanation, as Dennis just said, we've got outstanding invoices that are going to probably total X in our estimation before year end. Is that the level of detail you're looking for?
That's it. That's it. The deposit sheets, I don't, that doesn't, it's just that sheet.
That's what we need filled out, is essentially what you're spending money
The
on.
nice thing is where Dennis said everything's on Quicken,
Yeah.
that kind of gathering of that information into these categories can be done without too much difficulty.
And just to come to defend the library, we don't have it on this sheet because that we never, you know, it's like Maureen said. True, you get a lump sum of money, and you can do with what you wish. This is new. This is, even when I was a selectman, we didn't have it for the library. You know, but this is all new, and I'll take the hit on this one. You know, maybe we should have put an actual figure on the end. You know, a column. You know, and you know that's what I mean. We try to complicate things.
It's just a matter of accountability.
I understand, but a heads up in writing is much appreciated.
Yes,
Again, this is our first run, or relatively my first run, approaching the selectmen.
Yeah.
And in my past 3 years, or you know, the 6 years I've been with the library, we have just dealt with the budget committee.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like I said, we had something in writing well ahead of time that has been submitted. We, you know, it gives time for this kind of dialogue.
Exactly. I agree. No,
this is why I reached out so long ago, is to try to find out if we could find some common ground on.
But you reached out to me personally, and I just was uncomfortable with that, and I would have appreciated it if you had reached out to the board, because I can't speak to the financials.
Right. No, I appreciate that, and I was looking to contact the board through you. My mistake.
That's okay.
So anyway, the bottom line is just to know where the funds are going on any given line, and are they sufficient for certain funds? Are they not being used for certain funds? It's just a breakdown of the actual expenditures. Where's money going? And then the part, though, that I do struggle with is the salary issue, because there's the whole personnel thing that I get from Ms. Spencer stated. I don't know if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but I don't agree. The town has a personnel policy, and that policy governs all employees. There's things in the RSAs that say you act independently, unless the town has such a personnel policy. We could split hairs on that. The problem coming down the line on budget cycle is whatever gets allotted this year carries over to next year. So if we're increasing arbitrarily a salary line and then say, well, we made a 6% increase in the salary line this year, and so next year we want a 2% increase. Well, the salary line was what it was. Somebody went over it, and then when the increase comes for this year of 2%, it may not cover what last year's increase in salary actually was. And that's the situation we're faced with. I don't begrudge what you're getting paid. I support it. I support the 2% increase on wage for you. I do. What I have a problem with is there's only so much money to go around for employees in the town as a whole, which comes from this board and the budget committee. That's getting allotted out. If somebody's using more, it's problematic. We can't always cover that. So that's the situation when I look at this year's budget request, because 2% of last year's salary increase, that was the line that was approved by the budget committee, isn't fully covering what the request is. You end up, without giving I'll call it employee number 2 any more additional funds, you end up with $611.10 of an overage on the salary line. That's problematic. I don't know what the answer to that is. Typically it isn't to take the money from my operating line. But that's where I have a bit of a disconnect with the practice as I see it. And I was a spectator last year, and I was the spectator the year before. And it just seems like it's an issue. And now this year, I'd like to try and get a handle on it, so as we go forward, we can all be working together to put a good budget together that we can all agree on, that we can bring to the budget committee, and we can be your advocates and have it go through.
Okay, having said all that, I just want to ask you a straight question. Sure. Did you know about the personnel policy?
The library's personnel policy?
No, the town's personnel.
The library's personnel policy reflects the town personnel policy.
All right,
I do know that.
All right, okay. That's all.
But I'm not a town employee. So.
Okay.
You're not a town employee.
State law says they are not town employees. There's been a Supreme Court decision that interpreted state law. Library employees do not report to the town. They are library trustee employees. They are not town employees. There is Supreme Court precedent.
Well, I'll take that under advisement, because the provisions of this section shall apply to the employees of any public library except in the case where the city or town has personnel rules and regulations which apply to such employees and which make provisions for a public hearing in the case of such a discharge or removal. I honestly don't know. I haven't gone to any of these classes, and I'm really not here to split the hairs on who is an employee or not. The funding comes from here. If you want the funding, we have to get along and work together to get there, as well as with the budget committee, who has the final, they're the final arbitrators of the whole thing. So you can say, we're autonomous, 100%, and too bad, I don't need to answer to anything. And that's great. I just don't think it's going to work out in the end to your benefit. I think you'll find out that somebody else has a red pen and can adjust this.
So I hear a lot of frustration. I'm feeling a lot of frustration.
I am.
So, yes. I think the attitude is I'm going to just call it on that. I think it's becoming very confrontational, and so I need to make sure that I understand what we need to provide, which is the breakdown of what the expenses are to date. Is there any other information that you need?
No.
Other than hearing?
Let me ask you, well, I ask you folks,
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah.
Would it be hard to gather the information that we just talked about and brought it back?
The person who could answer that is not here. Yeah. I have no idea how to use Quicken. Nothing about it. No. So.
Okay.
I have a rudimentary knowledge. I'll say that. Probably better, but it would have to be with Dennis's help.
Mr. Fuller.
Really is.
I could offer my assistance to help them with that information from Quicken.
Thank you. So, would it be okay to get that info? Because we're just going to keep bantering back and forth. Just get it and give it to us, and we can start from there. Would that be? I can't.
I'll just say theoretically, because if it just means if everything in Quicken matched that paper, then it would be snap. I have a funny feeling it doesn't. No. And I think sometimes, are there bills that would go over more than one of those categories?
Let me put it.
If that's true.
We have a gentleman here who I know is pretty quick and savvy.
Yeah.
He's offered his.
If we can match up their schedules in this very, very not busy month of December.
I mean, so would the board be happy with that? I'm just throwing that out there. I'm extending the olive branch in both directions. What'd you say, Lynn?
Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
Okay. What about you, Mike?
I was waiting for. Yeah, I'm just looking for the accounting.
Okay.
That's all I need.
Okay. Go ahead. Finish.
One final exception is the end of the year remaining funds on that operating budget. What's in the account at the end of the year.
Okay, and that's what, we have a volunteer in the audience said that he would try.
I think you had, I think with the information that was provided to you for 2016 and 17, those reports did tally up that kind of spend. So you did actually get reports from the previous 2 years?
I don't have it in front of me that I'm aware of.
I personally sent it to the office and Claudia got it because I talked to her.
16, 17, okay. I think I didn't get that because it was felt that was geared towards the budget committee, and I thought that was
So just,
usage.
So you've seen some trend information already in what has been sent to the town.
Okay.
Let me defer to your neighbor over there.
If you do defer, you have, in order to meet the budget committee review date, you've got 11/18, or 1/2, or a special meeting. So I'll just throw that out to whatever dates would supply the library.
12/18. 12/18, right?
12/18.
Okay.
Did I say 11?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah. 12/18.
we're jockeying for position here.
12/18.
12/18, we can-
1/2, you have a meeting on a Wednesday prior to the ZBA.
Okay.
Or you could do a special one, because right now, we're up hard on 1/8 for that review. Just because we have to get ready for the warrant articles and the capital improvements, trust funds. So those are the dates. I don't know what the library could support, so I want you to have that information. It looks like you're gonna defer, so I want you to have that information.
When's your library review date for the
1/8?
1/8? Yeah, then we can do this in our next meeting, I should think. I mean,
Well,
it's just-
Let's
see
what it
let's see what it is.
Yeah, if you have it.
What the deal is first.
If you have the
Let's not go
My
add too much pressure on it.
So attempt for 12/18, and if you can't meet, then maybe you do a special or 1/2.
Okay.
Is that amicable?
I'm all for it. I just don't want to. I'm not one of these. What do you guys say?
Okay, that's fine.
It's fine with me.
All right. So
I'll work with the library.
18.
We'll see
You
what
got
we
it.
do.
And how? Well, let's. Are you guys good with that?
I can't speak
Yeah.
to it.
Okay. All right.
This is a volunteer position.
Okay. All right.
We will do our absolute best.
Okay, and I do appreciate that. So, okay.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
I don't have a problem with the operating part of it. I do wonder how you get to the salary line though. What did, because as of December 4th, it's almost $7,700 under the salary line for this year.
Yeah,
So
it'll
it
be
went
about
up.
57.
Okay, all right, let's just try to get the info first, all right? And we'll figure the rest out at the meeting. Let's just try to get the
Let's
data.
save that question.
Yeah, save that question.
We do have a breakdown on that, but have
Let-
to
let's
discuss
hold
at
it.
that point in time.
Yeah, let's hold off on that and we'll
Yep.
bring it back, all right? Good? We're good with it?
I do have one last question.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Just, I'm just curious, does the library have, do you generate funds from something like, do you do anything that generates funds that come from, I don't know, whatever equipment, or you do processes that bring in revenue?
We have a disc cleaning service, a machine that cleans CDs, DVDs
Yep.
for patrons, for our staff
For the
items,
region.
and for other
know
libraries
that,
that send us items. I don't have the figures in front of me.
No,
it's not much. Income generating
And then
equipment
when
is
people make
also
copies, they pay for them.
copies and fax.
Well,
and
that could be something for the next meeting. Look into it. I don't want you to say something.
Yeah, no, it's all
that
in
you
that.
don't
You
know.
have it in
Yeah,
front
yeah.
of you. It's
Funds,
the
right?
unanticipated funds that we voted.
That's
on.
what-
It's about
People pay for
70.
coffee, you know, there's a conscience jar, it's things like that. So,
Book sales I saw was something, right? I think.
yeah, DVDs or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Awesome. Does any other questions for these folks? No? Okay. We will see you on the 18th. Correct?
Oh, we don't know.
Oh, that's right, we don't know about Mr. Fuller.
That's got his
I'll
work
let you
cut
know
out.
as soon as I have
Okay.
information.
You got it, brother, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I can leave here for that.
Okay. What else we got? Where are, I didn't know where we are.
I think we're back into our budgets.
Okay. All right, I think we, Lenny, what do you got?
As far as,
Any comment, or we're gonna go back into this, or what are we doing?
Just go through the regular.
All right, go ahead, Len.
I did have, well, as we talked yesterday, Ron did go out and sand. I did have another complaint again about the sand. I rode out through Clough Road. I mean, yeah, there's places where the sand didn't stick, but for the most part it stuck. I don't know if there was not enough salt in it, or if there was any salt, or it just never got sun to melt it in. But I think with warm weather coming the end of this week, that maybe we should probably, warms up, sand it so it'll stick. And this is a question for Eric: how long would the flags at half-staff?
Through the 31st of December, per order of the governor.
Okay.
It's 30 days by flag code for a deceased president anyway, which takes you through December 30, but the governor's office, for some reason, issued an order for it to be through December 31st. So.
That answers it.
What else you got?
You sent me a text Saturday about the transfer station.
Yeah.
We all agreed that, give them the day off, but now you have...
Well, I didn't say, that's for discussion, I didn't say that.
Oh, right, yeah.
If that, I can read the text right here, that's not what I said, I said it's open for discussion. We might have pulled the trigger too quick, because it is the busiest day at the transfer station.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think there's nothing that people can't wait 3 days. I mean, you said yourself we weren't going to meet that week because you thought it'd be nice to, people could spend it with their families and stuff. And I just think they have families too. So, and I know Bill's already made plans to go away.
He made it a long time ago.
But it may be busy, but I mean, if you look at it that way, what are you going to do next year when it's actually Christmas is on a Wednesday? Have them work Thursday? I see no reason not to let them have a holiday.
Well, I know Claudia had reached out and said that this was a busy day, and she wasn't too pleased with the decision because she felt it was not a great decision. On that, I said, well, I think what we might have done in error was not check with the department head, which is Mark, to see what his sentiments on the situation were. So I talked to Mark.
Well, I talked to Mark. That's why I brought it up.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear it that you talked to him, because I contacted him and I asked him what his position was, and he was kind of on the fence on what to do. It was a busy day or whatever, and he said, well, we could work. And I said, I'm not asking you to work, I just want to know what your input was. I said, as far as I'm concerned, I would leave the decision to work or not up to Mark. And that's what I said to him. And he called me back and he said that he and Brad were going to work. And I said, well, we'll talk about it, decide. But as far as I was concerned, I was going to let Mark dictate that one, because he knows the flow of how many people are coming in, whether they're getting rid of their Christmas stuff or not. You can check with Mark. We can make the decision. You can let Mark make the decision. I don't really care. I don't want to be Scrooge in the first place, so I don't have a problem letting them have the day off. if they feel it's to their advantage to work because of the flow, I'm fine with that too. Like I said, I'd leave it to Mark. But,
Yeah, I just want to, because this is on tape, I just want to tell you what I did tell you, Lenny.
Yeah, I still got it. I mean,
Good morning. I would like to rethink the idea of closing the transfer station the day after Christmas, as it's probably one of the busiest days. So let's all talk about it Monday, which we didn't do yesterday, but we're doing it today. So as it stands, I would like to keep it open for discussion and not say anything until we have the discussion. Have a great day.
Well, keep what open? The topic or the transfer station?
The topic.
Oh.
The topical.
Yeah.
So that's what I said.
do you want to get final confirmation on Mark on what he feels is the thing to do, or you want to make the decision for him?
Well, he's an employee. He's not gonna come out and say, no, we're not gonna work that day.
Well, I don't.
Where is it?
I don't think he'd be uncomfortable saying that what he wanted to do. I mean, it's with the flow. It's the flow. I'm not against.
I'm not against keeping it. I could go either way.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at the people. They're telling me it's a busy day.
I mean, I just think it'll be a busy day Saturday. So. And next year, you're gonna close it next year. So I just, we all agreed last week.
Yeah, just because we agree on something, that doesn't mean it stays.
No,
but if someone has if it comes up and you have a thing, saying, well, maybe I did pull the trigger too quick. Let's revisit it. You always can revisit it. Yeah. It's the 25th. Yeah. It's 2 weeks away. Yeah. So, I mean, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. I could stay with it, keeping it closed, or I could open it. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm looking at is what's in the best interest of the public, not what's in the best interest of me.
I don't think, the public would mind giving them the day off. I mean, everybody raves about them being kind of like the face of the community. Everybody raves about the transfer station. And
oh yeah, the guys do a great job.
They do a great job. There's no question.
Yeah.
So, let's reward them.
Well, that was the thing. We want them, as long as it's not impacting them negatively in the next.
Well, I don't think closing the.
So Lenny, make the motion.
Yeah.
For one day. What?
Make the motion.
Make the motion to keep it closed?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
No, I think Lenny's passionate enough for all of us on this. So
all in favor?
Aye.
There you go. What else you got, Lenny?
So we just have to reach out and let them know now.
Yeah.
So it's
and
going
then
to stay
post
closed?
it.
Yeah.
And we'll put the postings out.
Okay. Now that we're getting close to budget time. So.
Yeah. All right.
You still got one more budget to go over, John, right?
What is that?
General assistance. 4442.
Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I don't have the amount with me, but it's being level funded at $14,000, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to move it forward to the budget committee as level funded.
Yeah, I second. Any discussion? Lenny, got anything?
No.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Just need you to sign that sheet, John, please.
Yeah.
Across it.
All right. What else you got, Mike?
That's it.
What do you got, Mike?
We had just a couple quick things here. The transfer station we covered, that was on the list. We'll talk to you guys about Huntress Bridge, about postings, talk to Freedom, talk to our engineer, so we can have a discussion about that at a later date. Get stuff to do here. Let's see, HEB bid package. You got that correspondence in the action folder or whatever, mail. And Chris Fournier feels that the amount of projects still being worked on is hampered some of the folks that might bid on it, on the project, because they're still taken up with finishing projects, or may not have felt they would have had the time to put a package together, a bid package together. So he's suggesting that we keep the project out there for bid to the January 15th. It's an addendum that's all included in the bidding process, so it's no problem to keep it open. It's a process that's appropriately done all the time, and everybody who was solicited will be contacted, as well as anybody who's a holder of the plans will be notified. There also been some interest in a change to the snow road culverts in a fashion that DES has to okay if that would be a viable option. So they wanted the time to also see if DES would weigh in on a different type of repair to the culverts.
And it said that they could be cheaper too, right?
Could be cheaper too. So it just seemed like it, for all the right reasons, it seemed like it made just good sense to let the process stay out there for, I don't know, it's about another 27 days to generate more, hopefully generate some more interest in bids and give the folks time to submit. So I'd make a motion to follow that, the engineer's advice.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
And I think that's really it for stuff tonight with the budget committee coming up.
Yeah, they're coming pretty quick. Yeah. Well, I have stuff that we can wait on. I did talk to Frank Carroll about the road. I'll get back to you guys on that. I did want to order signs for both ends of Champion Hill. You know, icy road ahead or whatever you want to call it, in case we can't do something.
There's, we had 2 on Townhouse Road for last year.
Right.
They're probably still there. You can probably take them down. Just moving.
All right.
Still there on the road.
Have to look, see if they're still there. I haven't noticed.
I didn't either. Huh, icy road, huh?
Yeah, it said Icing Road.
Okay.
If they're not there, you want to order them, is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Chris. We're gonna order 2. If they're not there, we'll let you know, and you can order 2 signs.
I'll check tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. We gotta get together with Claudia with carryover money, because we're running out of time. To make sure we get all the carryovers approved. And, which I'm gonna talk to her about tonight. And, that's about it for now.
I think that, we should check with her, but I think that's already been done. We
I know,
encumbered it, but.
I just wanna make sure that's it.
Right. No.
I don't wanna make, we did 2 things, we carried over 2, but I just wanna make sure that there's no other money that we gotta carry over before the Christmas, break. So.
Do you want to do another work session or no?
I don't think that would hurt. We could do it on Monday. I don't, well, I'm just speaking.
Yeah.
I don't, you know my
Monday at
schedule.
4.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I don't know, what do you got? Are you gonna look in your calendar?
Yeah, I may not have it with me, so yeah, we'll go for Monday.
Okay.
Well, if it turns out you can't, you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Do it
Cancel
Wednesday.
it.
Yeah, cancel it and do it another day. But we should have another one. Yeah. And get all of this squared away with Claudia here and get it all squared away. Okay, and that's about it.
Is that a 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. We've got to streamline, but you guys got anything else going on? Old business, no new business, monkey business, what do you got? What do you got, Len?
No, nothing that can't wait.
Okay. What do you got, Mike?
Same here, nothing that can't
Okay,
wait.
I got. Okay, all right, we're gonna quickly, public comment, real quick. Yes.
And I, just for comment, that last year, Avatar came to the house and did their whole bit. They came again this year, and I said, well, why? You were just here. And he didn't seem to know that someone else had been there before. And so I said, well, could you give me your card, and I'll write the date on it. So, because I didn't want him coming back again.
Yeah.
So now I get a letter, and they want to come again. Now, each time they come out, do you know how much they get? to look at any place? How much they charge?
I wanna say it's,
Part of the package.
yeah, it's all part of the contract, but, Jesus.
Not cheap.
I'm
No, it was like 35
Nothing
bucks.
is.
a
$45
parcel.
an hour.
No, I think it was 30, no, it wasn't that. I don't wanna say, but I remember, well, this is years back, I think it was like, 35 bucks a visit, a parcel. But then that not including data entry, which Gwen did the data entry, so we saved a lot of money on the data entry.
The other thing was, we fill out an inventory, correct?
Yeah.
This is a 5-year cycle?
Well, the inventory's every year.
Yes, I know that, but
Yeah.
I mean, as far as them
The
doing.
revamp,
right,
yeah, every
right.
5 years.
Okay, so they come to my house twice, they wanna come a third time.
You're popular.
I must be. We fill out the inventory. On that inventory, we stated we had no changes. Evidently, they don't look at them.
I would have to say you're probably right.
I'm just making a comment
No,
because
no, no,
I
I-
want the budget committee to hear it. And I want you guys to know that they're out there and this is happening. And if we're not going to follow those things we have to fill out and we get, fined for if we don't fill them out, if they're not going to look at them, how much are we spending to mail them out, to all of this?
Okay, I think I can answer that question a little
Okay.
bit. We had, previously, that position is in transition. I'm not making excuses for anything. We had a person in there, she's no longer working for us. Things got shuffled again. We thought it was being taken care of, but found out it wasn't being taken care of. Be as it may, that was a transitional piece. Like I said, I'm not making any excuse for it. I'm not. But I will tell you that that's on my hit list to call Avatar, because I am in the same boat as you are.
You're popular too.
Yeah,
John.
but they like your landscaping more. They like your landscaping better than mine. But
The inventory, though.
yeah,
Are all towns using this, or are we still the last holdout that
I don't
is
think
using
we're-
it?
It's the state, it's not the towns.
Okay, the state, whatever. A lot of towns, up from what I understand, aren't using it anymore, or
they
using
have done away
something
with
different.
inventories. A lot of them.
Brookfield doesn't use it.
Yeah.
So maybe we could save some money if we didn't
I
use it?
gotta look into that because
Yeah, it's complicated.
I'm not sure how we would go about that.
Why isn't
Well,
Brookfield
we have
using it?
other towns that aren't, maybe we could contact someone
Well,
from
here,
another
right here.
town.
You let people go on your private property to inspect your house?
That's what he wanted.
Well, that's private property. If you don't want them on your
Oh,
property,
don't
you
worry,
tell
it's
them.
not gonna come back again.
I'm just saying, they'll do it from the road and they might make a mistake.
Yeah.
I let them do it from the road and then I check what they did, and if there's something that needs to be changed, I'll have it changed. But
You
no,
go
no.
for an
I
event.
thank you for saying that, because
Oh, you don't have to let them in.
maybe this
No.
board doesn't know,
I do.
because when I answered the door the first time, he said, I need to look around inside.
Well,
So,
let me just,
I don't
let
want
me just
that
kick
happening.
back at that. Yeah, I don't let them. Here's the thing. It's like exactly what Ed said. You let them go outside,
We did.
and sometimes it's assessing 101. You're gonna let me in one way or the other, because like Ed said, that they're gonna look outside and they're gonna say Ed's got marble floors and granite tops, and inside is beautiful, which it is. but what I'm saying is that's the mistake that they're going to make. So they kind of, I'm not saying it's right, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what they do. But you can, like Ed said, you can say, hey, wait a minute, you say I got a finished basement, I don't have a basement. So then you check that off. Whether they come out and check it to see if you have a basement or not, that I don't know what they do in Brookfield, but they'd have to, I don't know if you let them peer through the crawl space or whatever.
So basically, they have to have something on that inventory that says something has changed on your property
No.
before they can come and look.
Well, that's what do they call it? They call it a pickup.
They're supposed to do 20% of the town a year anyway.
Yeah.
And that includes coming inside?
No, that's not something that they have a right to do. That's optional for you if you think they're not assessing you properly.
That wasn't the impression that I got.
Well, it's like Ed said. You wait for them to do it, and when they send you their findings, and you say, wait a minute, I don't have a basement. What are they telling me I got a finished basement for? Then you go and you make an appointment in here, because they come here and they look over your thing and say, listen, I don't have a basement.
Okay, well, in the meantime, I am going to call them, which Christine suggested to me today, and I will call them.
I'm going to call them as well.
The other thing is, are we paying attention to these inventories? Because if we are, then why do they keep coming to the same house? It seems to me they're not even looking at them.
I believe the inventory is when you have a change on the inventory, that triggers a visit.
No change.
I get that. So why they would be coming as a product of the inventory wouldn't make sense. I don't know why they're repeating. I don't know if it's the same individual, if one hand doesn't know what the other's doing.
It's the common.
It's something that I think maybe should be discussed.
Sure. And it will be, because I'm going to call as well. Go ahead, Lawrence.
I don't think they have a clue what they're doing. I bought 45 acres off in DePrazio. They got me down on the tax map as 78 acres.
We'll take it.
In my the homestead that I'm living on now is 4 acres. They got me down as 2 acres. I don't think they have a clue what they're doing. And that's something that the selectmen should be looking into.
At the tax maps and maybe checking it. I've heard there's a lot of problems.
Well, the first 2 acres, they categorize that separate. So we'll look at your tax map and your tax card to see if they're picking up the other 2 as a different valuation. They break out 2 automatically.
The easiest thing to do is make sure that everybody in this town knows that they are responsible for looking at their tax card. Everybody should look at it. Don't even talk to Avatar. Go look at your card. If it's not correct, tell them to fix it.
Tell Avatar to fix it.
Well,
or this other
who's
office person or whomever.
We don't fix it. Avatar does.
But we do have somebody is learning to do the assessing portion in here. So as that person grows into that position more and gets more and more responsibility, that person would be kind of the liaison to pick up discrepancies that somebody has and verify them on the tax card. Things that are greater than that, it's directly, you would file an abatement for a larger thing with Avatar.
Okay. Thank you, John.
No problem.
You do look into it.
I will.
Okay.
Absolutely. Any other stuff? Because go ahead, Lawrence.
On the extension of the bid process for the snow road, does that include the Elm Street Bridge too?
Yes, it's packaged together.
So how does the bidders know that that's been extended?
They're all going to be contacted by the engineering company. It's built into the language of the contract that was an optional thing to extend that.
So the only bidders that's bidding on it is the ones that the HEB has notified?
All the plan holders that requested a plan will be notified, and all the other interested parties that showed an interest or were invited to bid will be notified.
Okay, that's one. Second one is, you guys sat there tonight and micromanaged $7,000 of the library.
No.
Here we have a contractor who has a contract of $244,000 and you do nothing. Do you know that Ed and Ron split up Do you know if Ron has the equipment that's in the contract?
Yeah,
You know that,
yeah,
John?
yeah.
You know that he has the right amount of trucks and everything?
I'm not gonna get into his personal stuff with his
I'm not
brother.
asking that. I'm asking a question if you know
And I'm
what's
answering
in
the
the
question.
contract.
He does have the equipment.
It's
Get
in the
over the
contract.
fact that you didn't get the contract. Will you?
Oh, will
Just
you?
get over it,
John, stop.
please.
We haven't had a
Now, the
contract
other-
for 20
God
years, for
damn.
goodness
The
sake.
other thing is, in the contract, what's supposed to be sanded doesn't get sanded. I went by the Swamp Road today, that's a glare of light. Who takes care of it? Who
Hey.
looks at it?
We had Mike look at it and Lenny looked at it.
At the Swamp Road or the Granite Road?
I went out to Granite and Clough and Nutter.
Did
on
you
a
look at the
request.
Swamp Road?
I didn't go looking at all of
Does
those
anybody
lines.
look at anything he does? The last snowstorm was a disaster. Does anybody care? Does anybody look at it? Does anybody say anything to the contractor?
Okay, any other comment? I'm not getting.
Yeah, John, you don't want to talk about it, you go on to something else.
Well, no.
Thank you, John.
What?
I appreciate your thinking, John.
Done.
You're useless as a selectman.
Come on.
I wish I could say something right now, but I tee off on you like Tiger Woods on a golf ball. Okay, any other stuff? Go ahead, Len.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one, young fella.
All in favor, aye.
Aye. Let's give
move
the
on.
next guy some fun.
I'll sign that.